Okay, welcome everybody. You ready, Liz?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Zach, why don't you come up forward? Hey, bring anybody up you want to hold the Bible for you. Sure. Hey, how are you? You want to hold the Bible for you? Okay, put your left hand on the Bible. Sorry. Right, raise your right hand. You can repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Zach Henderson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state.
and in this state.
Under the authority of the people,
Under the authority of the people,
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department
Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and thank you.
You want to hear the family?
John, step up. Yeah, okay, no rush. You guys aren't doing any type of dinner this year, right?
Dinner?
Like installation dinner, nothing? Okay.
Think about it, a picnic.
Okay.
That's still the word.
Well, we got the okay, be prepared, we got the okay for the Memorial Day Parade, so you guys can march.
We're ready.
Okay, so you guys are gonna march, right? How you doing? Hold the Bible, maybe? Put your left hand on the Bible, right hand up. Okay, good. Get after me. I state your name.
I, John Butcher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state.
and in this state.
Under authority of the people,
Under the authority of the people,
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department
Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to my best of ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you guys. It's always a department and seeing more guys. It's always great to see. So thank you for stepping up.
We're recording.
Okay, you want to read that first paragraph? I always give you the first paragraph.
The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes Mayor and Council and Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 on April 28th in the Municipal Building. Consistent with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, the meeting will be open for public comment. Public comments may be made at designated times during the meeting and may be submitted in writing to be read aloud during the meeting. Comments to be read at the meeting must be submitted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by email or to the clerk's office at 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, and must be a length that can be reasonably read within the time limit for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Stand for a flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed or requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here?
Council President DeWine.
Here.
Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Here.
Councilwoman Riker.
Here.
Councilman Bennett?
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney David Rutenberg and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyle.
Okay, thank you. Before we start with our proclamations, I always give up our COVID update. Just give me a little time to read it. As of Wednesday, April 21st, we have had 19 new cases of the virus in Pompton Lakes. I'm glad to report that this number is down from previous weeks. This is a good sign for Pompton Lakes. While numerous children are still testing positive, they continue to have little or no complications with recovery. Unfortunately, I must report another death from the virus. We continue to mourn the loss of the 15 residents who passed due to our virus. Pompton Lakes has about a 60% vaccination rate of adults over 18 or older. As of April 19th, anyone aged 16 and above will be eligible for vaccination. Vaccine appointments can be anywhere in New Jersey, whether that be the local Wayne, County Passaic, State, the mega sites, select CVS, Walgreens, or hospitals. Take advantage of whatever appointment you can get. Passaic County vaccination site is in Plaza 46 in the Modell Shopping Center. The Health Department for Pompton Lakes and Wayne has a vaccination site at the former Macy's Preakness Shopping Center in Wayne. Last week, the state gave us an additional 1,000 vaccines. To date, we have vaccinated over 6,000 Wayne and Pompton Lakes residents. Please visit Wayne's Township webpage to try and schedule an appointment. There are numerous appointments available online most of the time during the week right now. No restrictions except you must be over the age of 18. On a different note, on April 29th at 7 p.m. at the high school, we will be hosting a meeting about the upcoming marijuana legislation. Residents will have the time to voice their concerns, pro or con, on the pending legislation involving choices our town can make. No decisions will be made at this meeting. This is an informational meeting only. We are hoping, well, now I can change that now, we are having our Memorial Day Parade, our first event in over a year. More details to follow. I'm happy to say things are looking promising for summer camp and Pompton's Day as well. We are closer to the end than the beginning. Hang in there, we're almost through this. That's my COVID report, and I'd like to start with some proclamations. The Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I am lucky enough to have some members of the Women's Club here. And for those of you who don't know, the Women's Club is one of those organizations that have been in town a long time and do a lot of good things for our community. They don't talk about it, they don't publicize it, they just quietly go out and do what they need to do. So from the council and myself, we thank you for all the time and energy, and I know it's been difficult during this last year with COVID for you guys to get out, but hopefully we'll be back sooner than later, and you'll be back to doing all the good things that you've been doing. So if you guys want to step forward, you can all come up, or one of you, whatever you'd like. Actually, what I'll do is take this. Yeah, I'm doing it. If you guys want to hold that, the actual proclamation, let me just get my mask. Okay. Oh, look, I broke that mask now. It's my big fat head. Whereas all children deserve to be nourished, protected, and free of physical or emotional harm. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a significant social problem that damages the lives of children physically, mentally, and emotionally, and inflicts harm to our society as a whole. Whereas the Borough of Pompton Lakes is committed to building a continued child abuse prevention and intervention programs that are competent, strength-based, and family-oriented, with a strong emphasis on primary care child abuse prevention. Whereas all sectors of the community involving law enforcement, medical professionals, schools, courts, the media, and private and public agencies have joined together to promote public awareness and community involvement in prevention during this month of April and throughout the year. Now, therefore, I, Michael Sarah, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, do hereby proclaim April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the Borough of Pompton Lakes, and urge all my fellow residents to become involved in efforts aiming to prevent our children from being abused or neglected. We thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's very, I can't get too close because I don't have my mask. But we thank you for taking this up. This is not just a one-day event, this is a yearly event for all of us. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're exactly.
You got it?
Thank you. It's even smaller. Oh, Lord. material there?
I got them in the office. I just don't like them.
Want me to go get the other kind for you?
No, I think we'll try this for now.
Okay.
And then I'll run in there if I have to. Well, I'm going to read the proclamation and then we'll pick on it. Okay, I also have another proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraskan Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Arbor Day is now observed through the nation and the world. Whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and renewed life. Now, therefore, I, Michael Serra, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, in the County of Passaic, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as Pompton Lakes Recognition Day of Arbor Day. And I urge all our residents to celebrate Arbor Day. So that is basically for our Shade Tree Commission, which we'll get that to them, but we do celebrate Arbor Day, and I know Councilwoman Polidori will be meeting with some third graders and handing out trees along with the Shade Tree Commission. Is that coming up, Jen, or is that... Can you hear me? Okay, well...
Yes, a member of the Women's Club, myself, and a member of the Shade Tree will be doing a virtual presentation in the morning at Lennox School and then visiting each of the classrooms for the students that are in person at both Lennox and Lincoln to do an Arbor Day presentation and hand each child a sapling to take home and plant for themselves.
Great. So we look forward to that. Okay, could I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilman Bay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Hi, I'm Gita Ingman Hansen Curtis. I live at 111 Ramapo Avenue. Since you want to whitewash the history, I'm going to make my own history society so we can get to the real history of this town. In 1922, the Klan came to town and took over power in local government and local police. The context of that was the Spanish flu and World War I. So we understand the chaos of that time because it's similar to what we lived through. In 1940, they made an intersectionality with the Claprot, can't make up these names, from directly funded for Berlin and went to Federal Hill right up here to oversee DuPont because we supplied most of the new munitions for World War I. 1940, Camp Norland, they made a pact between the Klan and the SS. So that's the history of our town. Your families all have connections to the German-American Bund except for Sarah. So that doesn't matter. God gave us free will. So you can choose to be good people or you can choose to be bad people. So I suggest you shape up and fly straight. You like that? Right? You have people on the council with connections to QAnon, the Proud Boys, and the Capital Gang. I'm not going to name names. You guys can sort yourselves out. But, so, enough. It's over. It's done. The Fourth Reich has fallen. Enough. Enough. The Mossad has been called. They're on it. So if any of you have family members that you're hiding, good luck with that. It's too late. Can't help you now. I'm not a vigilante. I believe in the Nuremberg, and I think we should have a Nuremberg 3, and hopefully we'll have that. I believe in law and order. I don't believe in the Hebrew vigilantes, although I do respect them and wish them well on their journey. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, thank you. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
It's not an opinion, it's fact.
Thank you.
Don't mess with me.
Sit down, please. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Motion to close the public session.
So moved. Second.
Council President Devine, Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, approval of minutes. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes of April 14th, 2021.
Motion Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve the following bill list as stated below.
So moved.
Councilman
Second.
Begg, Councilman Bennett,
Second Riker.
all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, consent agenda. Anybody want to remove any of the consent agendas?
No one?
No one? Okay.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Compton Lakes has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Compton Lakes does not desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 21-131 through 21-155.
Okay, motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Riker. Second.
Councilwoman Kent, was that you? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Separate action?
Resolution 21-130, resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding $4,478,900 bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Compton Lakes in the County of Passaic.
Kevin, you want to say anything about it, or?
All I have to say really is that, as you know, we have two long-term bonds currently in place. When that one bond lapses out, this $4 million, maybe $5 million or more by time we do more projects, will then go to permanent financing. So the idea is we pay down this as a bond anticipation note for up to 10 years, and hopefully by the time you've matured out some of the other long-term bonds, it kind of keeps our debt service flowing in a way where we don't really impact the taxpayer or the budget. So this is just a note for another year, and eventually we turn to permanent financing at some point down the road.
Okay. So what do we have
Want a
here?
motion?
Yeah, motion, you don't have that on there. Okay, can I have a motion for the resolution 21-130?
So moved.
Council President Devine, Councilman Begg. Roll call, please.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Was that me?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Okay, second readings?
Okay, this ordinance has been advertised. Ordinance 21-17, ordinance providing for the acquisition of new and additional equipment for use by the police department of the Borough of Compton Lakes in the County of Passaic, and appropriating $100,000 therefore from monies in the capital improvement fund of the borough.
Kevin, you just want to go over?
Yeah, as I mentioned last meeting, this is, we have money as was called in the capital improvement fund. It's excess funds based upon budgeting or down payment funding. So what we're going to do now is, instead of incurring debt, we're going to take this capital cash, so to speak, and appropriate it for $100,000 to start the payoff on the new police body cameras and the in-car cameras, which are going to run, almost $300,000 plus. So this will be a third down, and it will save us on our yearly payout over the next 4 years, which can be capitalized. So this is a lease to buy, which is allowed under the capital law. So it gives us a chance to pay down a third without having to incur any debt.
Good. Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 21-17. Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Seeing no one in the audience, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 21-17.
So moved.
Motion Riker.
Council President Devine, Councilwoman Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 21-17 for final adoption.
So moved.
Councilman Begg, Council President Devine, roll call, please.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Okay, under my report, thank you. We'll start with the COVID updates. Right now, I've been contacted by the county and by the Wayne Department, Health Department, that they have available vaccines most days. You can just call up or stop in at the Modell's in Woodland Park and walk in and get an appointment and get a shot if that's what you're looking for. At the Wayne site, you can make an appointment most any day right now on the computer, and they're doing their shots on Wednesdays. At either one of those two places, whenever you make your appointment, you will get an appointment for a second shot. We're doing great in Pompton Lakes with 60% vaccinated residents, 18 and older. We'd like to get that up to around 75, and I know the state is pushing to try to get that high also. You know, the next big hurdle would be our children. And where they're going with that, I can't tell you. The governor has announced some opening up of some things, and one of them being our parade, so we will be having a Memorial Day parade this year. Same route, same way we've always done it in the past, on May 25th, Liz, is that correct?
I don't know it offhand.
Yeah, okay, I'll get that date. The only difference will be we're not going back to the VFW afterwards for refreshments, but everything else will be the same.
May 30th.
What's it?
May 30th, that's a Sunday.
May 30th, is Sunday, May 30th. We start at the memorial next to Lakeside Bridge, and then we walk down Colfax through downtown, and then the parade would disband at that point. This is our first event that we will be having, and you know, it's a start. It's a start to getting back to normal. I got to thank the residents of Pompton Lakes. They have been doing the right things. My police have not been called for a lot of complications with masking and social distancing, so I thank all the residents for doing the right thing. Let's just remember, we're not through with this yet. Let's get through a couple more months. I know the president has said he's shooting for July 4th as an opening date. Let's hope we can get there and get to that date, and that would be great. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium, we will be having a marijuana informational session. It's giving the chance for any resident to voice their concerns, pro or con, about the new upcoming marijuana legislation. We'll do some education from our side, explaining what is needed and what we're going to be done. There will be no decisions made at tomorrow night's meeting. This is just an informal meeting for the residents to voice their concerns if that's something they would like to do. I'm going to limit it to one chance to speak, 3 minutes roughly to speak, depending on how many people are there. And then we will have another meeting at some point to determine, and it'll be an open session, probably at a council meeting, to discuss what we heard from that point. I had a great meeting today with the EPA. We have a cleaner downtown that's been closed for many, many years. There's some contamination from being an old cleaner there. The EPA is going to put it on one of their sites and start to look at visiting how they can clean it up. So in the next couple months, if you see people walking around with white Tyvek suits on downtown, they're there because of the cleaner. This cleaner has no association with DuPont or Chemours. There's a totally separate issue. Cleaners in general from the years past had a lot of pollutants in the chemicals they used, and depending on how they got rid of them, that's how they would find them in the grounds or underneath these buildings. It's not uncommon for a cleaner to have this. The good news about this building is it's an eyesore in our downtown for a very long time. In partnership with the DEP and the EPA, and we can get this building removed, we could hopefully build a pocket park there in our entrance into downtown, which would be a wonderful thing for everybody. So it was a good meeting. I know our administrator was on with me, and we had some pretty important people in the EPA level talking about it. So the fact that they're talking about it gives me hope. So this is the first time since I've been involved that we're looking at doing something with that property. So that's really good to hear. I attended the zoning board, the bid, the redevelopment, the planning board. I'm sure people up here will talk about that. We had the opportunity to swear in 2 new volunteer firemen this afternoon, which is always good to see. You know, we have a very strong volunteer fire department here, a lot of members. I talked to mayors in other towns, and that is a tough spot for them right now, keeping their volunteer fire departments up and running. They don't have enough people during the day to go to the calls and be around. We're fortunate here that we have plus 50 membership at our fire department. So, and that goes from ages of 85 to 18. So my hat off goes out to all of those volunteer firemen, because I get the calls, there's a lot of calls, they're at night, they're during the day, and they drop whatever they're doing and they go to these calls. So a big thank you to them. And that is my report. Council President Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I just want to just say that I'm happy to see the Memorial Day parade coming back in whatever form that we've got here. I know it's been a long year, but, you know, that's kind of return to normal is a good sign of everything. I attended the library board of trustees. The good news is that circulation seems to be picking up, which means more people are visiting the library, using the library services. They went through a lot of discussion on how much additional cleaning they needed to continue to do. I reached out to Kevin about that. CDC changed their guidance on cleaning of the surfaces, so they're going to be taking a look at that as well. I also attended the North Jersey Network of Aging-Friendly Communities. As I've discussed before, the Pompton Lakes completed an aging-friendly assessment. Following that, I've been trying to get a little bit more involved across the region. This group is organized through the Town Foundation. They had speakers from the Regional Plan Association on accessory dwelling units, and from the Tri-State Transportation Campaign on pedestrian safety initiatives. The Trails Maintenance Committee will be having trail maintenance days on Saturday, May 8th, and Sunday, May 16th at 10 a.m. Typically, they meet at Willow Field. I know that the river maintenance is coming up, so I think the guidance on Saturday, May 8th, may be to meet up at Hirschfield Park, like that's typically been done in the past, and then they'll grow out. Because the trails typically run along the rivers, there's a lot of coordination between the two groups. And then finally, earlier we passed a resolution for a Sustainable Jersey grant. That grant actually is consistent with our floodplain management plan that was completed by the Rutgers Water Resources Group. If we got that grant, what that grant would actually do is enable the borough to remove an area of invasive species along the rivers and replant native habitat along those rivers. So we'll see. We're expected to hear by June, but again, that's sort of part of that we've acquired these properties. Now we're trying to turn it into productive use as well. And that concludes my report.
Hopefully we get that grant. That would be great. One thing I forgot to mention in my report, and maybe the administrator was going to mention it, they are starting to work on Colfax Avenue, the paving. They're starting the curbing and the paving, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks we should have a brand-new paved Colfax Avenue, which would be great news for everybody that lives on that end of town. Councilwoman Polidori.
Thank you, Mayor. So today was an exciting day for children and for the parents of school children, as it was our last virtual Wednesday. Starting next week, the children go in for a 5-day in-person learning session. So there will be no more virtual Wednesdays. May 5th, they'll be in school. So that's definitely signs that we are taking steps in the right direction, which makes me very happy. Also, the new playground equipment has been installed at Stiles Park. I want to thank the borough for incorporating another inclusive play piece. It looks great. And we now have another park in town that has equipment that can accommodate children of all abilities. So thank you for that. I also want to encourage the residents to please continue to participate in the local dine and donates that we see advertised on social media. They are a collaboration between our local restaurant owners and our community organizations. So it's an excellent way to support a small business that is in turn supporting a local organization. And a quick reminder from the MUA, hydrant flushing will take place on Monday, May 3rd, between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. During this period, you may experience some slight discoloration and a reduction in water pressure. It is normal, and that is it. That is my report.
Thank you. I'm just going to repeat what you just said about the flushing of the hydrants. That was May 3rd, you said, or 13th?
This Monday, May 3rd,
All right, so
from
May
12
3rd.
a.m. to 6 a.m.
All right, so the residents might see a discoloration in their water. That's normal. They're flushing out the hydrants, and you might have lower water pressure. I know sometimes people panic when they wake up in the morning and they see colored water, so I'm just trying to get the word out, so that's good information. Thank you. Councilwoman Riker.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, Pompton Lakes participated in Local Government Week. The council had opted to adopt the suggestion made by Councilman Bay, and Michael Corelli and Councilman Bennon worked together, and the postings about our history were really fascinating. So thank you. Are they still available, Mayor?
Yeah, they've been flying around social media. I've seen them on social media.
Okay, so if you haven't seen them, I would encourage people to take a look. They really will take you back to a different time. The coalition had a meeting last week, and they put together a very comprehensive slideshow and presentation. The crux of the presentation basically was the extent to which our large companies are marketing underage drinking to our students and those who are not legally able to drink. They had many examples. It was very enlightening. So those folks who have not seen it, I assume that the coalition would make it available to you. It really was a very extensive presentation. The bid met last week as well. The bid is, as many of you know, is going through a transition or the next chapter. Those folks who were very much involved early on in the bid, John Sujan, who worked tirelessly at the bid, is no longer in town very much, and Rob Walker is running the bid. Joy Pettibone has moved on to another opportunity. But the bid did take the comments of Al Evangelista at last council meeting, took them very much to heart, and they're working on trying to address some of his comments about the downtown. And my guess is that Councilman Begg will fill you in more about that. The RDA continues, the redevelopment agency continues to be busy. You can see from the last couple of resolutions on the consent agenda, these are potential applications coming to the RDA. So the RDA is on many potential redevelopers' radar screen. And I just want to echo something that several others have said. The mayor is constantly talking about the volunteerism in town, and he did a certificate to the Women's Club. We have several groups in town, many groups in town, that are really involved in civil engagement. And I just want to point two real quick ones out. One is you honored the Women's Club today, but every woman council person is a member of the Women's Club, in addition to Liz Francis, who is a member of the Women's Club. And you always talk about how they quietly do things. Well, I think Liz last week was over the last month or so, was in charge of collecting gift cards, and maybe she can give you the details. But again, lots of unsung acts of goodness. So Liz will have to fill you in on exactly how much she raised, but from the members and what exactly it went to. And the other thing is, Council President DeLine's daughter is busily out there gathering food through the Girl Scouts right now. And Eric, you'll have to say whether the solicitations, whether they still can contribute, but they're gathering food for the pantry at St. Mary's. And this goes on constantly. And these are just a couple of things that came on my radar screen in the last couple of weeks and last couple of days, really. And Mayor, it just emphasizes how involved the community is, and that's my report.
Thank you. Liz, would you like to add anything about the gift cards?
Sure. So the veterans, for the homeless, they were asking for donations, $10 gift cards to fast food restaurants. So if they so they can just give them so they can go somewhere and have it. We collected over $300 of
Great.
gift cards.
That's great. $300 is a big number for that. Great. Eric, anything about?
Yeah, sure. My daughter Danielle is Girl Scout troop, and I think a lot of Girl Scout troops are participating in a food drive towards the St. Mary's Food Pantry. We were given a number of bags. I took one over to Councilwoman Kent's house, Councilwoman Riker's house. A number of my neighbors picked them up already, completely filled. And I know, again, that's not unique to our neighborhood. Food insecurity through the pandemic continues to be a major issue for many families. I don't know how you can continue to contribute to the Girl Scouts food drive, however, but what you can do is donate directly to St. Mary's Food Pantry. The pantry is open. There's constantly families there. People do need food to feed themselves and to feed their families. So if you have anything to give, please consider doing so.
And I've had conversations with the father over there, and unfortunately, it is being used greatly in the last couple months, and the food is going quickly in the pantry. You know, in years past, they could get by a couple weeks and then have to refill. They're refilling every week, and he's very thankful for the community for all the support he's getting for the pantry. Okay, Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to begin by thanking the Store Commission for helping put together those posts with Michael Corelli. I had something to do with it, but it was most of it was done by Showman Laura Jennings and her team over there. So thanks to them for putting that together. Speaking of volunteers, every so often I like to thank all the volunteers. The Wayne site, I took my dad over there. They're very efficiently run, as is the county mega site. But at the Wayne site, we have our Pompton Lakes CERT volunteers, and I see a lot of familiar faces behind the masks. So a big shout out and thanks to them. I get my second shot tomorrow, by the way.
Good.
Speaking of volunteers working quietly, the Flood Advisory Board, Stormwater Management. The south end of Pompton Lakes, as we know, years and years ago, probably close to a decade now, it's like a complete 180. There's a house there going for $500,000, and there are people lined up to look at it. So, big thanks to the Flood Advisory Board, all the hard work that they do to continue, and obviously the mayor and council putting aside some funds to keep the rivers clean. And that is my report.
Yeah, you know, that's true of everything. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, the way you look at it, we haven't been lucky and we haven't had a flood in many years. So we've had a lot of time to work on the rivers and do what we got to do. You know, and I just have to remind residents, especially in the south end and all over Pompton Lakes, including myself, that, you know, the flooding is known to this town, and it's not something that went away. You know, it will happen again at some point, and we should always be prepared for that to happen. And we have a lot of new residents, especially in the south end, and they should be prepared. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but in the future, that if flooding was to happen, you have ideas of what you should be doing at that point. So you're not running around that day very concerned about it. And we've been very lucky, very fortunate with all the work that's been done from the town, from the Flood Advisory Board. The nuisance floods have kind of gone away for the most part, but unfortunately, we are in that river basin that eventually will flood at some point. So everybody should keep that in mind. But thank you. Councilman Beck.
Thank you. I attended the Pompton Lakes bid meeting on April 22nd, 2021. The bid tentatively sponsoring the summer concert series at the Pompton Lakes Library Lawn. The 3M band is scheduled for the first concert in June, date to follow. On May 8th, the bid is sponsoring Art on the Avenue. There was a discussion on garbage in the downtown. That has to do with what Al was speaking with. The bid is currently sponsors a cleanup of the downtown every 2 weeks, and the officers are going to discuss expanding that back to the once a week. Mayor Sarah gave an update on redevelopment in the business district at the meeting. I attended the Pompton Lakes Prevention Coalition meeting on April 22nd, 2021. Coalition Coordinator Ashley Lusick reported the coalition with the Pompton Lakes High School Hop Club students and Pompano Lakes Police Department Sergeant Daniel Cortrell conducted a Project Sticker Shop and underage drinking prevention program. The group distributed 500 prevention stickers throughout 3 participating stores: Shoppers Liquors, Empire Wine and Liquor, and Krausers. She reported the coalition will be hosting a Zoom webinar on Tuesday, May 18th, on the topic of marijuana legalization in New Jersey. At the meeting, the coalition held a webinar on how advertisements promote underage drinking. On Saturday, April 24th, the coalition with the Pompano Lakes Police Department conducted a drug take-back program. And that's my report.
Yeah, thank you. So going back to the bid concert series, it's always a popular concert series. If you're not familiar with them, we have them on the library lawn, usually in the late afternoon, around 5, 6 o'clock. And the first band would be 3M, which is a homegrown band here in town, which is very popular, and they usually get a pretty good crowd. The only thing that we're asking of those crowds that show up now that the numbers have been increased to 500, that you sit with your pods or your people that you're with, and you're 6 feet of social distance between the next group or next pod of people that are with. You should theoretically have your masks on when the concert is going on. But it's an exciting time, and the concert series is always nice to have. Councilwoman Kent.
Good evening, thank you, Mayor. Again, I want to thank the Women's Club. I am a very proud member of that organization, and they do wonderful things. A few months ago, the Boy Scouts also held a food drive, which I did participate in, and that the proceeds went over to St. Mary's as well. So all the organizations are very conscious of, the needs of the folks in town. I want to thank the Councilwoman Polidori and the Shade Tree Commission for the Arbor Day. It's a wonderful event. They really do a very nice job, and it's nice that we can get the children involved with environmental and trees and growing, and it's very important that they start young. And they will appreciate everything they have with the trees and what all the trees bring to all of us: oxygen, clean air, and water absorption, so we don't have flooding in areas. So it's very important, and they do a wonderful job, and I thank them for that. I just want to go over some of the information that I obtained from Karen Murphy, the director of the Recreation Commission. Was on a meeting with them last night. She just texted me. She said there's 14 people down at Hirschfield Park getting fit. And that's a group it's a woman who runs a Get Fit aerobic program, and it went from on TV, now it's going to Herschel Park. So they're going to try to have it outside, so it's nice out now, so that'll be going. This year, as Mayor said, the summer camp will be held at Herschel Park June 28th through June 30th, and it seems like a fabulous program, to be honest with you. It's going to be fabulous again. And the recreation group has prepared flyers, I assume through Mike Corelli. I'm not sure if they...
He'll probably get them out.
I think, yeah. They're all online. They're beautiful in color. But anyway, so if you have children and you're interested in that, you should sign up or contact Karen regarding what that's about. In addition to having this, we also need, there's summer jobs for summer camp counselors, paddle boat supervisors, and they need a teen center supervisor. So we have a lot of employment coming around here, which is really good. And there's applications in the Borough Hall. I believe it's on the table out here if you need that. And I believe you have to be, for summer camp counselor, you have to be 16 years of age. And for the paddle boat supervisor and teen center supervisor, you have to be 18 years of age. And so try to get those applications in. If you know anybody, let them know, because they're due April 30th. And more information on counselors. Okay, we will have the 16th Compton Day event. It'll be on September 5th, 2021, and the rain date is September 6th. There will be a 5K run, there will be fireworks. This year, they will be back on the bridge. Last year, they were at Hirschfield Park, but this year, they voted last night to go back on the bridge. There will be a fishing derby, a dunk tank, music, and food, and all of that is all done through the Department of Health, so it'll be nice and safe and in compliance. Paddle boat, we have, with the open space group having a kayak launch, we now have a paddle boat and kayak rentals. Recreation, I think, bought two kayaks, and that will start May 29th through September 5th. I can't wait to try one of the kayaks myself. And it's very inexpensive. It's $10 for 45 minutes on the lake. It's worth every penny. So take a day off and enjoy that feature. And then we're also going to have a fishing derby on the 5th and at the boathouse. So if you're an angler or if you just like fishing, get your fishing pole out. And then the last thing they asked us to review is Passaic County is sponsoring a Passaic County White Spring hike. And again, the flyers are all on the Facebook page, but there are a number of different hikes and open space and park areas that you can see throughout the county. Highlands Preserve, in Hewitt, Ashapaw Preserve in West Milford, Garrett Mountain in Woodland Park, and the new Weiss Center, the Environmental Center in Ringwood. And any information will be on our Facebook page, and I want to thank you. End of my report.
Good. I mean, that's good information about summer camp. I do get a lot of calls from new residents in town on how the summer camp works. You can apply. You can come here to Borough Hall and pick up an application for summer camp. You can go online to the Recreation Department and get information there. It is a half-day program. It is not a full-day summer camp. So in the heat of the sun, the kids are back home, and I think it ends at 1 o'clock. I don't know if anybody knows the starting time. I think it's 9 o'clock, but I might be wrong. And the starting age, I think, is 6 or 7, and it goes all the way up to 13 or 14-year-olds. We usually get on a normal summer about 200 kids, and we get enough counselors for roughly one counselor per 6 kids. Depending on the numbers of kids is the number of counselors we get that Councilwoman Kent's talking about. We do have opportunity to hire counselors. They would need working papers, and they'd have to be 16 or older to apply for the job. Professional reports. Do you have any report there?
Nothing of significance, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Administrator's report.
Just a couple things, Mayor. We haven't received the letter yet from the county, but I did receive information from Sue Scavone that the 2021 Passaic County Open Space Awards will be released shortly, and Willowfield will receive another $150,000 toward that project. So we now have $300,000 from the county of Passaic. The budget right now is around $335,000 to $350,000. So we'll see how it all shakes out once we get the bids and so forth going on. Also, that being said, the DEP did give us permission to go ahead to provide the actual application for approval of the permits. So we have sent them down to Trenton, as well as we've applied for our soil erosion permits from the Soil Erosion Conservation Group out of Essex. That they're going to review. More than likely, this will be a 2022 project by the time all these permits are approved, and we can actually put the plans and specs together. Again, this is all theoretical at this point in time, and we'll get that together. So that's going to be a project anytime in 22. We'll have to decide what's best. We believe we can do a lot of it without interfering with most of the sports activities, so we can determine that when we get everything together and go out to bid. As you know, last week we talked about a DCA grant for parks. We're looking at doing some work at Hirschfield Park if we get the grant. We're looking at redoing that impervious walkway. We're looking at maybe trying to see if we get funding to put in a new rest facility with storage, and also some new playground equipment for handicapped and special needs, 2 or 5-year-olds type of thing. And we already had somebody looking at that. So we're going to put that together. And talking to Sue, we can actually apply for the DCA grant and this grant, because they're separate pots of money. And what happens is this grant falls back into Green Acres. The only concern I have is that if you take Green Acres funding, it's a loan process. So you actually end up getting a loan from the DEP. We might actually do better either through our own open space or our own bond. We might get a better rate because our bond rating is so good. That's what we look at. But bottom line is, once we get all the paperwork together, we're going to try to put both applications in. I can't tell you when to get it because it's going to be a $500,000 application, but we'll give it a try, you know?
Is there any tie-ins to the Green Acres and requirement, things that we have to be restricted on?
Well, once you take Green Acres money, there's no restrictions. I mean, the park is open to the public. It's a public park, no restrictions. No, the answer is going to be is that when it trickles down, will it work in our favor? We'll see. I mean, again, it's going to be a large project. We're probably going against a lot of other communities. I think DCA grants only ordering 7 applications. So, I mean, but care to put, again, like I said in the last meeting, whether we get the money or not, to start put a plan together for improving Herschel Park makes a lot of sense. If anyone was down to those restrooms, we'll just leave it at that, you know. So let me see what else we have here. Our annual inspection, the DEP for our stormwater management, as you know, we're a Tier 1 community. We did very well. The only thing that we did not pass on is our boards. A lot of our board members did not take the online DEP required class on stormwater management. I think this was first released back in, time goes quick, 18 or 19. So I'm working with Dan Flynn to try to figure out a way we can get the board members to take these online classes. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but we've got a little bit of a black eye on that. We'll have to explain.
Who takes that? Who are we asking?
All board members, because if you're dealing with developments and subdivisions.
From flood advisory?
No, all planning board and board of adjustment members.
Oh, okay.
No, the land use board members. I should be more specific. So we have to figure out a way how to get them to take it. It's not the end of the world. We're right to DEP, explain to them where we're at and our game plan going forward, and that will put that issue to rest. Otherwise, we had no problems. And this thing measures the catch basins we clean, the roads we sweep. I mean, it's a pretty comprehensive study as to what we do relative to stormwater management, outfalls we repair. So we do very well on a whole. We do most years on a whole, do very well in that review. We wrote about Colfax Ave and Stiles Park. Right now, the design on Lincoln Ave is almost done. Once that's finished, they'll put together the final plans and specifications, send to DOT for approval. So we're hoping maybe to bid this out in June and get them going, maybe as early as late July, August.
Just so for the public's concern, that's Lincoln Avenue from one end to the other.
And Lincoln Ave from the sewer plant to Riverdale Road.
Right, okay.
It's a good stretch of Lincoln Ave.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, completely milled and paved and so forth. So that's going to be a nice project. I said that's a DOT funded project. The pond hole, as you know, we awarded that bid to the pond hole tonight for over $800,000. We hope to have the contract to begin that project in June. Starting on Friday, the utility companies are going to start moving poles and start relocating their services ahead of this project to make it a little easier. The contractor, normally the contractor is supposed to do that work, and we felt it was better if we did it in advance to make sure it was very well coordinated, so it wasn't going to stop the project, hold the project up. So Jerry Central was very, very accommodating. The field tech guy has been excellent to work with, and they look to be starting to move. And that's going to be moving Jerry Central utilities, moving Cablevision utilities, and moving Verizon utilities. There's a lot of movement there. There's poles will be moved. Some services will be changed in terms of how you attach the poles. It's a decent-sized project for utility companies. All in all, our cost to have Jerry Central do its job is around $7,000, which I thought was pretty reasonable because I've seen Jerry Central bills a lot more expensive than that over the years.
So will this, when they move the cable, will cable be down for sure for a while?
No, it should be pole to pole. It should be able to keep everything.
All right, because we got kids
There should be no interruption in any utility services as they do all these switches.
Good.
That's something that we talked about. And lastly, the lakeside dock, that'll be installed sometime on May 17th. The contractor's meeting tomorrow around 10 o'clock in the morning with Dan O'Rourke, our DPW superintendent, to determine where the pad's going to go, where the dock will be secured to the Lakeside Avenue portion of the park. So we're getting ready to do that. a lot of stuff going on.
All right, so for the public's concern, I know you brought up Joe Grill and the open space funding we got from the county, which is over $300,000. What we plan on doing there is moving the T-ball fields to the back parking lot, reseeding and wooding where the T-ball fields are with new trees that are better absorbent for flooding and events that happen down there, building a walk path around the whole complex. Remember how long it was?
I don't know the distance.
It was over a mile, maybe closer to 2-mile walk path around the whole complex, putting a small playground in over there, closing down, this is the most important thing, because I've been involved with the recreation down there for a very long time, is closing down the road in front of the snack stand and just leaving that as grassed area where kids are constantly crossing the street there to get to the snack stand. There will no longer be traffic going in front of the snack stand where I was always afraid an accident would happen. So that, to me, is a huge part of this project, is closing off that road. So it's a big project. It's going to make our fields and our area much more usable by all residents. I think the walk path will be a very nice path that'll kind of cut through some of the trails that we have already in place and go around, and then with the moving of the T-ball fields and the closing down on the other ends, we'll put some nice wooded trees in there, so I think the complex will come out nice. It's a pretty expensive project. It's going to cost maybe $400,000 total.
So that's the upside of it, depending on what happens to get the bids in there.
Right, so it's a nice project, so hopefully that happens next year. Any questions for the administrator?
Kevin, when's the Lincoln Ave project gonna start?
I'm thinking probably August, September. Depending on how, because it has to happen. Once they get the final design, DOT's got to approve it. Because back and forth, and one of the problems we'll face is that a lot of these state organizations don't have in-house operations. If they do, they come in once every 3 weeks. I mean, we waited for a civil service list for the police department, and we talked in February, we got the list 2 weeks ago. There's nobody working in the truck. That's part of the problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I do have an answer for you.
Sure.
On the children, the ages, for the summer camp, they can be as young as 4 years old, as long as they're potty trained, and they go up to 6th grade for the September 2021. Those are the eligible ages.
All right, so for the public's concern, that summer camp, you can be 4 years old as long as you're potty trained up to 6th grade, graduating 6th grade,
Yeah.
and going into 7th, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 2021.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, meeting open for public comments. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
Motion, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Councilman Vennon, Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor, anybody have anything to say?
Mayor, I have something real quick.
Sure.
It's a time of year that, just a reminder, please wear your bike helmets. I've seen lots of kids with them and lots of kids without them, and if it's possible, Liz, would you please reach out to our ice cream folks in town and see if they would give the police the coupons that they have in the past, so they could try to encourage bike helmet usage.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Council President Devine?
Second.
Councilman Vennon, thank you, everyone.
Good night.